Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome to Wrestle-Rama. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the Wrestler magazine, cover dated August of 1984, but we're more so looking at the magazine for the cover story. You see there Ronnie Garvin against Jake Roberts. Ronnie Garvin battles Jake Roberts in Baltimore. The moment we're recording this, April 7th, is actually the day that this show took place. It happened in Baltimore, April 7, 1984. So we figured it'd be cool to hop in the time machine, go back, and take a look at some happenings. We have the full results of the show. We're going to go all through the magazine. If you're on our Facebook page, I highly encourage you to check the page out because we had a ton of stuff from this event post. That we had videos, interviews, ticket stubs, and of course, the match results. So you see there at the bottom, our Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, all of our social media. It's really easy to remember. You can find us at Wrestle-Rama. So I'm just sharing this to a few pages real quick to get the word out. Looking at the magazine. There we go. It's coming through live. Sorry if you guys had any feedback over there. But yeah, so April 7th, 1984, Georgia Championship Wrestling came to Baltimore. And the magazines were there. I believe Bill Apter and one other person from the Apter magazines were there at the show. And this magazine here kind of commemorates one of the key matches that night. As we see there, the Hands of Stone crushes the Snake in Baltimore. So we're going to go through this. It covers more than just the Georgia show in Baltimore. As you see there, we got Buzz Sawyer and Kevin Sullivan, Jerry Lawler and J.J. Dillon, a Q&A with Exotic Adrian Street, and Wahoo McDaniel, Guns for Harley Race's Missouri title. And something, if you look at that, August of 84, you can get this magazine for $1.50. I just bought the Pro Wrestling Illustrated year-end awards, just out of habit. I still buy it. The year-end issue, and it was like, I think it was over $10. Maybe been $12. I can't remember. But yeah, you could have walked into a supermarket, a pharmacy, and saw this magazine on the magazine rack and bought it for $1.50. I don't know how society would deal with seeing this magazine out in public today. But let's crack it open. August 7, 1984, Georgia and Baltimore. If you were there, I'd love to hear your thoughts. So these were some advertisements that were pretty common in wrestling magazines back in the day. You can make up to $12.50 an hour, even while learning. Be a locksmith. So this is an original magazine. I'm trying to be gentle with it because the magazine is, 41 years old, so I kind of want to be gentle with it. But yeah, there's a picture of David Von Erich. Your letters, if you can see it. A letter about the not-so-fabulous ones. The Fabs were big in Memphis back then. There's Angelo Mosca Jr., King Kong Mosca's son. He didn't quite make it too long. A lot of talk nowadays about Nepo babies. This dude definitely was one. He won the Mid-Atlantic title from Ivan Koloff the first time. Many people called it an accident. Now that he won it from Koloff again, maybe he'll get his just due. He didn't get his just due. He didn't last long. You can melt away inches in just minutes a day. They had a lot of these exercise gimmicks back then. I remember they had a forearm blaster. The what was the thing? The bar. You would see Hulk Hogan with it back in the day. They had a lot of these weightlifting muscle loss gimmicks. This is Ric Flair versus Kerry Von Erich. Pretty cool. There's some of the older, or some of the magazines that were available at the time. Ric Flair with the belt. Nick Bockwinkel, Andre Abdullah. That's pretty interesting, Andre and Abdullah. And look, there's Andre and Superstar, Mass Superstar. Hulk Hogan. And look, there's Mass Superstar and Blackjack Mulligan. Kevin Von Erich. There's the Valiant Brothers. So let's look at the subscription. 24 issues. So you can get both of these, The Wrestler and Inside Wrestling, one issue every month. So you get 2 magazines a month for $25. And actually, for several years, for several Christmases, this was a Christmas request of mine. This and Pro Wrestling Illustrated. So I would get all 3 magazines delivered to the house. So I would ask some family relative, hey, get me this for Christmas. And I would get Wrestling Magazine sent to the house every month. Thumbs up, thumbs down. This is just, who was doing good, who was doing bad. Look at Chick Donovan. What did he get a thumbs up for? The young man from Macon, Georgia has made quite an impression. I don't know if Chick Donovan was ever a young man. I think he's in his 70s now. I saw him. He popped up on some independent show. There's Carlos Colon. Thumbs down goes to Roddy Piper. Billy Jack Haynes. What did Billy Jack get a thumbs down for? Florida State champion. Thumbs down to Larry Zbyszko. Thumbs down to Eric Embry. He formed the Fabulous Blondes. He was pretty good. I liked him in Southwest. He had a bloody match with Tully Blanchard on Southwest TV. I don't know if it was 82, 83 maybe. But I'm sure if you YouTube Tully Blanchard, Eric Embry, Southwest, you'll see it. He bled buckets, man. And there's some old magazines you can order on back order. So let's try to catch up on some comments here. Ben says it was a great card. I believe it was the second card, Georgia to Baltimore. Yeah, it was, Ben. They came to Baltimore, I think, in February of '84. I remember Tommy Rich, and that was right around the Mr. R and Ted DiBiase angle. So it was Tommy Rich and Ted DiBiase at the Civic Center. Several other matches, but that's the one that just pops up in my head. Introducing Kevin Kelly. Nails, that's Nails. This is the old, I think this was the 83 awards issue for Pro Wrestling Illustrated. I definitely had this magazine. Yeah, and I'll never forget how excited I was. Jimmy Snuka, the centerfold. If you remember back the old Pro Wrestling Illustrateds, they always had a centerfold poster of a wrestler. And, man, I can't tell you how many of those I had on my wall. But this one was Jimmy Snuka and Hulk Hogan together. And I was such a huge Superfly fan. Even before, I'm talking 80, 82, I was a Superfly fan, even before Hulkamania. And then, of course, Hulk Hogan came out and was huge. So I was really excited to get the poster of Hulk Hogan and Jimmy Snuka together. Q&A with Exotic Adrian Street. He always did really good in the Southern Territories. I liked his stuff in Continental, Southeastern, Memphis. I don't think he really hit it off with Mid-Atlantic. I remember he was in Mid-Atlantic for a while around this time. There's Randy Orton's dad, Cowboy Bob Orton. And this was something neat they would do. They would say they put a panel of former wrestlers or experts together to talk about, this wrestler. And this one, it says they had Bruno and Buddy Rogers and Lou Thez talking about Cowboy Bob Orton. All right, the Freebirds are cheered for a night. Imagine that. Will their war against Devastation Incorporated change their lives? Michael Hayes and Terry Gordy are stunned by the crowd's favorable reaction towards them. Speaking of Southeastern, I just watched some old Southeastern a couple days ago, maybe last week, from I think it was like 81, where Michael Hayes and Terry Gordy were feuding against each other. There's Kamala. Florida fans beg for Brett Sawyer's help. Only you can save your brother Buzz, from Kevin Sullivan. That was a great angle in Georgia when it was revealed that Buzz, he was known as Brett Wayne when he first came to Georgia, and it was revealed that Buzz Sawyer, lunatic Buzz Sawyer, was his brother and saved him from a beatdown. I think the Road Warriors were giving him a beatdown, and Buzz Sawyer made the save. But they teamed up. This shows back in the day how they would run the same angle. They teamed up in Portland, I think 81, 82, as Hacksaw Sawyer and Buzz Sawyer. But of course, as a kid in 1983, 84, I didn't know that. All right, so look at that. Did they get the mask off of the Midnight Rider? It's awesome looking through these old magazines. I haven't looked at this in years. Sullivan, Sawyer, and Karma combine their efforts against Dusty Rhodes. Graham attempts to subdue Sawyer with a figure 4 leg lock. So, yeah, there's a shot of Brett and Buzz against the Road Warriors. All right, here's the reason we pulled this magazine out. Ronnie Garvin battles Jake Robertson, Baltimore. Hands of Stone crushes the Snake. And again, if you're into this old stuff, particularly this card that we're talking about, there's a ton of stuff on our Facebook. I have videos, interviews, the old promos for the show. We're coming to Baltimore tonight, the Road Warriors. We got an old ticket stub from the show on the page. So check us out at the bottom there. All of our social media, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram, it's at Rasselrama. Definitely encourage you to check it out. But yeah, here's some photos from the night. Exclusive coverage. So it says here, photos by Craig Peters. So I guess it was Bill Apter and maybe Craig Peters was at the event. And I don't believe it was a sellout, but it was definitely a packed arena, a packed civic center. I remember being a kid, and they were definitely, Georgia and Baltimore, we just got WWF every month. So when Georgia came on TV, it was like, oh my God, these guys are beating the crap out of each other. And seeing it live, it was like, dear Lord. What was this story? Continued at a different, continued page 62. All right, so there's Lawler and Dylan. Looks like Jimmy Hart. Wahoo and Harley Race, man. Those two had some slobber knockers. Wahoo McDaniel is a gentle, pleasant man. I don't know if you ever heard his chops, but he is not gentle with the chop. Harley with the headbutt on the floor, man. Beyond the Squared Circle. This was pretty cool back in the day because there was no internet, no social media to see what the wrestlers were doing. So while it was cool to see pictures of events you didn't make it to or you couldn't see on TV, it was also cool to see pictures of the wrestler outside the ring. Ivan Koloff. There's the super intelligent destroyer, Ron Bass. And look, there's Ole Anderson. Check that out. We're talking about the show. Try to get that right here if you can see it. Ole Anderson interviewing fans from Baltimore. How crazy would it be if I was in that photo? That might be me there. No, it's not. Right there, Tony Charles poses with his son Anthony. There's Carlos Colon, Roger Kent, and Al DeRusha. Look at that for old AWA fans. Jimmy Hart says he hates J.J. Dillon. Jim Crockett with Hugo Savinovich. There's Ernie Ladd with a fan in Baltimore. And there's Buddy Landell, no-show Budrow, with the snakeskin cowboy boots. Wow. Here's the ratings. I used to love this part of the magazine because, of course, you had your favorites. Even as a kid, this guy's a bum, whatever. So here's the top 10. So this would have been for period ending April 25th, if you can see that. So for period ending April 25th, 1984. The top 10 was Ric Flair, Andre the Giant, Jumbo Tsuruta. He must have still been AWA champion at the time. Hulk Hogan, Harley Race, Dusty Rhodes, Kerry Von Erich, Carlos Colon, Ricky Steamboat, Dino Bravo. The top 10 tag teams, Jack and Jerry Briscoe, the NWA World Tag Team Champions, Patera and Blackwell, AWA Tag Champions. The Road Warriors, National Tag Team Champions. The Midnight Express, who were still in the Mid-South. They were the Mid-South Tag Team Champions. Dick Murdoch and Adrian Adonis, WWF Tag Team Champions. They were a great tag team. They were unusual tag team for WWF, but they were so good. Super Destroyer 1 and 2. Wyndham and Rotundo, who were the U.S. Tag Team Champions. Tommy Rich and Eddie Gilbert, man, what a feud that wound up being. They were the Memphis Mid-Southern Tag Team Champions. King Tonga and El Gran Apollo. King Tonga is Haku Ming. And number 10, Pierre Lafaire and Frenchie Martin, the Canadian International Tag Team Champions. So there had to have been 2 other tag teams they could have put in there. I guess it's because they were the champions. Most popular, Jimmy Valiant. That's ridiculous. There's, even as a kid, no way. In April of 84, no way Jimmy Valiant was more popular than Hogan. Number 2 was he wasn't more popular than Andre either. Probably not more popular than Dusty. That's crazy. JYD, if he was he still in Mid-South? He definitely wasn't more popular than JYD in Mid-South. Kerry, Lawler, Sergeant Slaughter. Oh, so April of 84, yeah, this was right at the start of the Hogan Sheik feud. So, yeah, ain't no way Jimmy Valiant was more popular than Sergeant Slaughter. Ricky Steamboat and Blackjack Mulligan rounds out the top 10. Most hated, Mr. Wrestling 2. That must have been when he just turned on Magnum TA in Mid-South, I bet. Kendo Nagasaki, the Spoiler. Hacksaw Butch Reed, Iron Sheik. None of these guys were more hated than the Iron Sheik at this time. Crusher Khrushchev, Ivan Koloff, Dick Slater, Jim Garvin, and Ken Patera. So we see there, Ric Flair was the NWA World Champion. Tsuruta was the AWA Champion. And look, this is how petty magazines and wrestling was back in the day. I mean, it's still petty. But look, Flair, World Champion. Tsuruta, World Champion. Hulk Hogan in the WWF, just a champion. This was all because WWF had started their own magazine at the time and kind of cut out access to the magazines. So to be petty, they just called Hulk Hogan a champion, not a world champion. Georgia, the spoiler was the champ. Florida, Ron Bass. Mid-Atlantic, Ricky Steamboat. World class was Chris Adams. Mid-South, Mr. Wrestling 2. Mid-Southern, Austin Idol. And Northwest was Crippler Rip Oliver. That was a great territory that I don't think gets a lot of love sometimes, was that Portland area. Just look at the names. Rip Oliver, Matt Bourne, Buddy Rose, the Assassin, Kurt Hennig, Ed Wiskowski, who just passed away, Colonel De Beers, Jules Strongbow, Tom Pritchard, Mike Miller. I love old Portland, old Southwest. You know what I don't see in here is Southeastern with the Fullers and the Armstrongs. That was another good territory that I grew to love. So this is what's this month in Pro Wrestling Illustrated. Look, special 5th anniversary issue. An investigative report on the officials' plan to ban the Road Warriors. They weren't banning the Road Warriors. Those guys were money. There's Tito and Super Destroyer. This was cool. You can get your picture on Pro Wrestling Illustrated. While I didn't order it from the magazine, they had it at one of the beach, down the beach, boardwalk shops. You could get your picture like on Sports Illustrated, if you're a girl on Playboy, whatever. But I remember I got my picture on Pro Wrestling Illustrated, and I got a picture with a big cardboard stand-up of Hulk Hogan. I wish I still had that. There's Roddy Piper. Paul Ellering. There's Billy Jack. There's the WWF Tag Team Champions, Murdoch and Adonis. Sweet Daddy Siki and Pedro Morales. Dear Lord. So these are results, or no, what's happening like in the different territories. Pedro Morales regained the WWC North American Heavyweight title from Sweet Daddy Siki in Puerto Rico. Dear God, in 84. Al Perez and Manny Fernandez captured the Southwest tag titles from the Fabulous Blondes, Eric Embry and Kim Timms. All right, so correspondence reports. There's Kim Timms right there. There's the Road Warriors and Precious Paul Ellering. There's Buzz and Dusty. It's hard to believe thinking back on Buzz Sawyer. I think he was only like 32 when he passed away. He was in his early 30s. There's more old magazines you could have ordered. And this is a continuation from the Baltimore article, Jake Roberts and Ron Garvin in Baltimore. There's some pictures. Let's see if I can get a little closer on that one. It's a bloody Ronnie Garvin with the national heavyweight title. What else we got here? Look, Joe LeDuc. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it, let you look at that real quick if you want to get a screenshot. I'm going to pull up the results of the show, and we'll talk about the results real quick. Let me put it on the cover. So April 7, 1984, that's what we're talking about. Georgia at the Baltimore Civic Center. Ernie Ladd defeated the Mystery Man. Tim Horner defeated NWA Tag Team Champion Jerry Briscoe. And just a month prior, I believe, sometime in March, they were doing a tournament with the winner of the tournament facing Ric Flair for the title. And that's how we came up with the main event for this night. But in the tournament, Tim Horner pinned Road Warrior Hawk, which was a huge shock. So they must have been giving Tim Horner a little bit of a push back then to beat Hawk and then NWA Tag Team Champion Jerry Briscoe. I don't remember. I remember Tim Horner and Brad Armstrong teaming occasionally, but I don't remember Tim Horner getting a big push after all this. Sweet Brown Sugar defeated the Spoiler. Brad Armstrong defeated Larry Zbyszko. Wahoo McDaniel and King Kong Bundy defeated the Road Warriors by disqualification. Ron Garvin defeated national TV champion Jake Roberts with Paul Ellering to win the title at around 17 minutes and 35 seconds with the right hand punch as Roberts attempted to hit Garvin from behind with a weapon while Ellering distracted the challenger. Both men bled from the face during the match, and that's pretty clear. We can see from the magazine. And in the main event, NWA World Champion Ric Flair pinned NWA Tag Team Champion Jack Briscoe at 26 minutes 50 seconds by blocking an abdominal stretch into a roll-up. This was Briscoe's last world title match. And just to give you a look, if you can, it's on my phone. But that is a ticket stub from the night we're talking about. And again, you can see all this on our Facebook page. All of our social media, you can follow us: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. It's easy, at Wrestlerama. So our website is wrestlerama.com, and all of our social media is at Wrestlerama. I hope you enjoyed the trip down memory lane as we looked at April 7, 1984, Georgia Championship Wrestling in Baltimore. And again, I invite you to check us out on social media at Wrestlerama, wherever you are: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. We are at Wrestlerama. Thanks so much for your time. Hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, take care and see ya.